The case between the federal government of Nigeria and Nnamdi Kanu has been ongoing for some time. Kanu, a dual citizen of Nigeria and the United Kingdom, has been a vocal advocate for the concerns of his people from the southeast region of Nigeria. This region once fought a brutal 3-year civil war against the Nigerian state from 1967 to 1970, known as the Biafra War. The conflict claimed millions of lives from the southeast and other parts of the country. When the war ended in favor of the Nigerian state, General Yakubu Gowon, the then military head of state, declared a policy of no victor, no vanquished. He genuinely reintegrated the surrendered Biafran soldiers into the Nigerian system. None were prosecuted, and many were even absorbed into the nation's military establishment. More than 50 years later, the Southeast has once again begun clamoring for independence, citing marginalization, neglect, and the federal government's lack of political will to develop a region still suffering the scars of the Civil War. In response, several secessionist movements emerged, advocating for the creation of a new state. While some began peacefully, many became violent in their agitations, a development considered unacceptable in a democratic society. Among these movements, stood out Massab movement for the actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra and IPOB, indigenous people of Biafra, both of which claimed to represent the interests of the old eastern region comprising the Igbo, Ifik, Ija, Urhobo, Itsekiri, and others. The most influential of these groups is IPOB, founded and led by Nnamdi Kanu. The group commands massive support from people within and outside Nigeria, including wealthy sympathizers who fund its operations. Kanu founded IPOB in 2012 in the United Kingdom. In 2015, he returned to Nigeria to strengthen the movement locally. However, on October 14, 2015, he was arrested by security forces in Lagos. That marked the beginning of his long-standing legal and political battle with the Nigerian government. He was detained for over a year before being granted bail in April 2017. Later, in September of the same year, during which about 28 IPOB members were allegedly killed. After this incident, Kanu disappeared from the public eye until he resurfaced in the United Kingdom, continuing his broadcasts against the Nigerian state. In June 2021, during the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, Kanu was arrested in Kenya and extradited to Nigeria. According to his lawyers, he was allegedly beaten, tortured, and detained at the Department of State Services DSS facility in Abuja. Buhari publicly stated that the law would take its course, emphasizing that he would not interfere, in order to project Nigeria as a democratic nation that upholds the rule of law. Since his extradition, Kanu has been facing charges of treason and terrorism. However, no Nigerian court has yet found him guilty of these allegations. In fact, he has won several legal victories to courts in Umuha IA awarded him million and billion respectively, ordering the federal government to release him, apologize, and seek a political solution. Despite these rulings, Kanu remains in detention. No apology or compensation has been given, and the government has appealed to the Supreme Court, seeking to reinstate the original charges against him. The truth remains that since Nnamdi Kanu's emergence on Nigeria's political scene, the nation has experienced increased tension. Although he claims to be pursuing a non-violent struggle, the impact of IPOB's activities has been far-reaching, hurting Nigeria's reputation internationally, straining its economy, and worsening insecurity, particularly in the Southeast. The introduction of the Monday sit-at-home protest to demand Kanu's release has crippled economic and social life in the region. Billions of naira are lost weekly. Schools and businesses are shut down, and innocent
lives have been lost to violence and unrest. Criminal elements have infiltrated the movement, using its name to commit murder, kidnapping, robbery, and other crimes. Although IPOB initially preached non-violence. It later formed the Eastern Security Network, ESN, its armed wing, claiming to protect the region from Fulani herdsmen and other threats. However, this move escalated insecurity, with many attacks now carried out under the guise of defending Biafra. The agitation has disrupted education, religion, and social life. Fear dominates the region. Students skip classes, churches close on certain days, and traditional ceremonies are avoided. This has brought about social disintegration and hampered governance, not just in the southeast, but across Nigeria. Even traders from other parts of the country and neighboring nations like Cameroon now avoid doing business in the region due to fear of violence. Meanwhile, IPOB's international activities have dented Nigeria's diplomatic image. Yet, Nigeria has recorded some successes, especially with no foreign government openly supporting IPOB. Recently, Finland convicted a prominent IPOB member on terrorism charges, marking a diplomatic win for Nigeria. The government now seeks one more victory, a legal conviction of Nnamdi Kanu, to finally close this chapter of national tension. But Kanu remains in court, battling for his freedom and insisting on his cause. Still, one question remains: will Nigeria choose justice and dialogue, or force and silence? The case of federal government versus Nnamdi Kanu is more than a courtroom matter. It is a reflection of Nigeria itself, a test of her unity, her democracy, and her humanity. This is not just a story of a man. It is the story of a nation still searching for peace. Stay tuned for part 2.